Hey, it's Eva and Angela here from Tucson Doulas, and we wanted to talk to you today about the five big questions that we get asked as labor doulas when we're being interviewed by a potential new client.
Mhm.
So, question one, all about certifications, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are we certified?
Are you certified?
The answer is yes, obviously. Yes. Certification is important to us. And beyond certification, our doulas have a standardized education. So all of our doulas are trained through the same organization, even for postpartum. So for labor and postpartum. And what that assures us is that we know that they have a foundational set of knowledge on how to support clients, whether that's emotionally or physically or through information that a client might ask. So,
Yeah.
by having that standardized certification across all of the people that work for us, we can ensure that we have the top level of support and information that we want them to have.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, this was one of the things that drew me to Tucson Doulas from the very beginning was this continuity of care
Mm.
across anybody that, the client may come in contact with. It
Right.
was the exact same, and except for personality style.
Sure. Sure.
But that's what I really loved. And it also feels very, it feels very supportive of me as a doula with this team
Right.
because I can go to my other colleagues and we can have a conversation about,
Absolutely.
what we know and new information that's coming out as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that part so much.
Obviously.
Okay, question number two. This is all about experience, right? And
Mhm.
this is a big question we get asked a lot.
Right. And experience is one of those funny things, right? Because you can be doing this for years and encounter things that you've never encountered before. You can
Absolutely.
encounter situations with labor, with birth, with interventions that you may have never experienced. And I understand that people think that the more births that somebody does, the more qualified they are to provide support. But I can tell you, as somebody who's been doing this for 25 years, sometimes the doulas who've been doing it forever don't stay up to date on the most current research. They don't pursue continuing education. And there's nobody more passionate than a doula who is just fresh and ready to support families. That doula is going to just be so immersed into helping you facilitate your experience. And they're going to be keeping up on all of that research. They're consuming every bit of information that they can. And we also, like, sometimes doulas who may not have a high number of births have worked in really complex situations in community-based programs where they're serving clients who are the most at risk. They're serving clients that present the most obstacles
Yeah.
into having a safe and healthy birth. And that person can learn things that somebody that's been doing this for 30 years could never even hope to accomplish
Yeah.
if they're only serving one set demographic. But beyond that is, how does that person make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, this is the point that I love to bring up is how many bursts you have looks really great on paper, right?
Mhm.
It's very impressive. Um, but if that person, we are being asked to join somebody at their most vulnerable, at a most intimate moment in their life. And if that person doesn't make you feel comfortable or
Right.
safe or heard, it doesn't matter how many births they have,
That's right.
it's just not a good fit. I think people tend to have a very good grasp, or we'd like to think we have a good grasp on personalities and how people make you feel. And I think that's the gut instinct you need to be going off of instead of how many births you have.
Right.
So if that person in front of you, and this is again one of the things that I love about our team is that we only bring in the best and the brightest and the people that make us feel really good, we know
Right.
is going to turn around and help make our clients feel really good too.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
If you're interviewing somebody who has a lot of experience and you don't feel safe, comfortable, able to be completely vulnerable with them, if you don't find that you're willing to sort of share your fears and your concerns, it doesn't matter how much experience they have. When you get to the birth, that's not going to change for you. It's
Yeah.
not suddenly be a click that happens. If you find somebody who's like, hey, I'm just fresh out of training, I'm certified now, but maybe I don't have a lot of bursts, but that person you feel so connected to and safe with, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is my person, that's the person you're going to want,
Absolutely.
because that feeling is going to continue into the labor and birth experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay, question number 3.
Hmm.
This is the question that we get around partner support. And this is one of my favorite questions to get asked and to answer. The reason for this is that partner support is it's so important. It's such a crucial um, part of the team, right? And we used to get asked, it used to be asked because people would think, oh, you're there to replace me as the support system. Not at all. That is not what we're there to do. We're there to enhance it. We're there to build upon what is already set in stone with you and the person that's going to be birthing your baby, right? You are also having an experience. You are becoming a parent. And so it's very important to us to bring you into the fold. What I like to say is, I want you to be as involved as you want to be and as your partner wants you to be, right? Because there's dynamics and maybe maybe it's not as involved as they want them to be or whatever.
Mhm.
And that's another big part of it, is that we're not going to judge the dynamic between you and your partner. We're not going to sit there and say, why are you over there on your phone? Like maybe that's your, how you process through and get through things. So that's a big part of it. And normalizing what you are experiencing is the other massive key to this whole partner support.
Absolutely. Birth can look a little freakish and sound a
Yeah.
little freakish. And so you may be concerned that, like, are the noises that they're making and the things that I'm seeing from this person I've never seen before, like, is this normal? And labor looks a lot like suffering. Like, there's coping and there's suffering.
Yeah.
And so it looks like suffering. And most partners want to fix that. And it can't always be fixed, especially if that person wants to have an unmedicated labor, for example. So a partner who keeps saying, like, are you sure you don't want the epidural? Are you sure you don't want pain
Right.
medicine? For the birthing person, it can feel like they're undermining. Like, maybe you think I'm not doing as well as I think I'm doing. So having the doula there to be like, is that normal? Or like, is there anything else I can be doing? And we reassure them. That's a huge part of what we do. We also know that partners self-sacrifice. So we want to make sure that they're taking care of themselves. So we're going to remind them to, now's a great time to eat, go to the bathroom, freshen up before things get deeper, so that you don't like wait and then all of a sudden here we are at the pushing phase and their blood sugar is low because they've forgotten to eat and to fuel their own bodies. So helping them remember to take care of themselves is also a big part of what we do, and we do it with a tag team approach as well. So we're never there to replace them. Like you said, we want them to be as involved as they want to be. And so sometimes we're tag teaming it. We'll start out doing some kind of comfort measure, maybe a hip squeeze, and then at some point we're going to be like, okay, we're going to tap you in here, you take over, so that we have somebody to share that with.
One of my favorite things that you talk about when it comes to partner support is the giant pop quiz. Tell me again what it is that you
Oh,
say.
yeah. Yeah. So, we often see clients take childbirth education classes, they're reading books, they're pursuing the internet. But when it comes to birth, it's like taking the biggest pop quiz you've ever taken under the most pressure you've ever experienced.
Yeah,
You're not going to remember it all. Neither one of you are going to remember it all because you're human. And
yeah,
as doulas, we're that one step removed where we have all that knowledge that we can sort of remind you, okay, you told me that you wanted to try these things. Would you like to try that now? Or if an intervention is coming up and we know that maybe you had some feelings about that, we can start a conversation about that.
right,
Do you feel differently now? Do you want to pursue the other options we've talked about before? Or are you like, I don't care. Now that I'm here, let's just do it. It doesn't matter to me. So
right.
that's all part of what we offer that also encompasses.
Yeah, it really is about that team effort. All of us working together to help you have the best experience you possibly can and to come out of it feeling as comfortable and confident, as new parents too, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's a big part of it. Okay, question number 4.
Mm-hmm.
This is about on-call support. So,
Right.
big question is, when do you go on call for me?
From the time that you hire.
From the
So
time.
a lot of doulas don't go on call until 38 weeks. And if there's one thing I know after doing this for as long as I have, is that babies come when they want.
Yep.
So whether your baby comes at 36 weeks, whether your baby comes at 42 weeks, in our team model, one of your two doulas will be available to come support you when your baby says it's time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is like so amazing that we don't put any stipulations on. I think when I became a new doula, when I first got into this work, I was really shocked by the limitations that doulas were putting on their clients
Right.
and were saying, no, I'm not going to be there for you until 37, 38 weeks. And going through this work and knowing that I'm on call for my client 24/7 from the
Mhm.
time that they sign that contract, meaning that if they come out of an appointment, a prenatal appointment, or they're researching something online and they have a question, I to me it just makes sense that I'm available to
Right.
help support them through that, whether that's emotional, whether that's educational.
Mhm.
It's not just about these prenatal appointments and then, okay, bye, we'll see you at the labor.
Right.
So it just felt very normal that you'd go on call immediately. So that I remember that was one of the things that kind of stunned me when I first became a doula, that I
Yeah.
appreciate about Tucson doulas and
Mhm.
the model that we have set in place is like, no, we are there when you need us for whatever it is that you need us for.
Right. Most doulas don't go on call until 38 weeks. And for me, as somebody who I worked that model the majority of my career,
Right.
I'm always on call anyway, because I took multiple clients a month. So unless I was scheduled for a month off, which I did once a year, I was always on call. So it didn't make sense to me to say, I go on call at 38 weeks. If you go into labor before then, I'll do my best to be there. No,
Right.
you've hired me to be there. So I need a model under which I can be guaranteed that me or the other doula on your team will be there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. And then the last question, question number 5, this
Mhm.
is all about uh it kind of flows to sort of two-part question, right? It's what happens if you can't be at my birth slash what's the backup system look like, right? And this is again one of my favorite things when I got introduced to Tucson doulas and how that the agency works
Mhm.
was to understand that we work in teams of two. There's two doulas on your team, and that does not mean that there's a primary doula and a backup doula.
Right.
It is equal
Mhm.
part, support. So
Right.
we go on call for you from the time that you sign the contract. We get on a group chat, the two doulas, you
Mhm.
and your partner, if they want to be involved or whatever, whoever support person you want,
Right.
get put on this group chat. And it is a team effort from the very beginning. You
Right.
have the collective knowledge of two doulas, you have the collective experience that I know we just talked about experience, but of both doulas, and you have both of those personalities that are right there to help you. So that's kind of like the backup doula thing. But now, to answer the question, what happens if you can't if you can't show up for my birth or you're not available for my birth?
Sure. So both doulas are on call from the time you hire. So if one doula is out of birth, the doula that isn't out of birth is the doula that's going to come to you.
Right.
It's never happened, knock on wood, in the history of Tucson doulas. But should both of those doulas be otherwise occupied, we have another team that
Yeah.
can step in. And we have all of the files that we have for our clients can be passed on to that team so that they can step in seamlessly. Let's say that team is out of birth. Then you have us as owners that can also step in.
Right.
So, knock on wood, it's never happened, but we have 3 layers of availability should it come to that, because I always need a backup plan and a backup plan to my backup plan.
Right.
But it's there. The other thing I like to say about the team model is not only do you benefit from your team of 2 doulas, but your 2 doulas have the rest of the team. So if there's a
Yes.
situation where they've never encountered something before, or they're like, I've tried all these things and, we need to see some sort of progression in labor. What am I missing? We have the collective experience of all the rest of the doulas as well that we can tap into.
Yeah.
And that's something that we do. We have our own sort of group communication where if somebody's at a birth and they need to throw out a flag for a little bit of help, somebody's going to be there to help give it to
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the last layer of this that I
them.
want to talk about, because we just talked about the 5 different questions, the big questions
Mhm.
we get asked. The last layer of this is really to just say that even though these are the top 5 questions we get asked, the beauty of the consult and the interview is what are the questions that are important to you? What are the questions that are going to help get the not just the answers that you're looking for, but help to get to the crux of our personalities. We're really awesome about, showing up with our personalities right at the get-go and
Right.
really showing you that you can, trust and believe in us um, right from the moment. But it's nice when you have like a set of questions or some things that,
Absolutely.
and we've gotten asked some pretty interesting things over the years, which is really fun.
Right.
So I encourage you also, we encourage you to come up with some additional questions. But
Absolutely.
those big five questions that we get asked all the time, there you go. They're right there for you. So,
Absolutely.
and we hope that this has been informative and fun for you to follow along with us. We have much more content over on TikTok, on Instagram. So go follow us there, Facebook, all those fun things. And if you are looking to hire labor doula services, postpartum services, placenta encapsulation, childbirth education,
Right.
infant feeding support, the list goes on, right? We
Absolutely.
are your go-to, your one-stop shop for all of those things. And we would love to have a chat with you. So give us a call, shoot us an email, and we'll see how we can, best fit into your team for your birth or your experience. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.